Gooners and Gamers, it's your boy Kentman, and we got an interesting topic today about Bunny Gardens 2 and the controversy around censorship. And the producer for the game has spoken out about censorship, and I thought we should dive in and talk about it. So play the intro and let's dive in and talk about it.
I love the kind of woman that will actually just kill me.
Producer pretty much saying that it's kind of difficult releasing risque kind of games today, and it's true with all the censorship that's been going on and just games getting banned off of certain platforms. I can understand the struggle for just the creator that just wants to make cool shit and see his vision being made the way it's supposed to, and then people just trying to tell him that it's not, you can't just do it that way. But it burns me up. Anyway, censorship sucks. Anyway, Japanese developer Japanese developer Kurate. I think that's always how you spell it. I never knew how to actually say their name, but I'm gonna go with that. Will launch Bunny Garden 2, the sequel to its risque bunny girl dating simulator game, on April 16th, which I think is technically out. No, it will be out in 2 days by the time I'm hopefully posting this tomorrow. An indication of the release, Kurate CEO producer Yujiro Usada recently talked to Famitsu about the upcoming title while also discussing the difficulties of creating commercial gentlemen's games. We're calling ourselves gentlemen's now. Oh, I love that. Gentlemen's games. You can't call yourself Gooners anymore because that's like clownish, but I still call it because it's like taking the word and empowering it, almost like the N-word, in that same sentence. That's why I say it all the time, because it's like we embrace it. We can be classy, but we embrace that, we just like gooning sometimes to some cool shit. That's it. For platforms that increasingly strict publishing requirements, when asked whether Kurate's creative direction has toned down since the huge backlash the company received for their work a few years ago, Usada said that while they have been learning from past mistakes, completely restricting their own content shouldn't be the way to go about things. I'm gonna keep reading, but then I'll give my actual thoughts to it. Is not the way to shouldn't be the way to go about things. Though through the interview doesn't explicitly state that the incident, they are most likely referring to the controversial Message Freaks rhythm game from 2022. I don't really know what that one is, but I'm assuming they had some type of controversy as well. Saying that we're toning it down might be a bit of a stretch. I am aware that there are people who aren't quite fond of games for gentlemen, but I also know that there are many people who actively enjoy playing Kurate's games. If we were to tone them down, they would lose their appeal as games for gentlemen, and there wouldn't be a reason for us to exist in the first place. Spoken like a true king. Appeal to the people that actually wants to play the game, and there's people that don't like the game, just don't play the game. That's essentially what he's saying. If you don't like the game, don't play the game. That's it. You can not like it. You have the free will to not like a game. That's completely fine. But don't try to change the game to appeal to you that you don't even want to play the game in the first place. That's what I'm saying. I love that's what, at first that's what Brown Dust 2 was going to do, was going to convert the game to what it was supposed to, like to meet with the modern times. However, then Brown Dust 2 was like, eventually after the backlash, was like, look, we're going to stick to the people that actually plays the game. And if our games gets killed off of the platforms, I'd rather it go down the way it's meant to be than a corporation taking it down. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. Then the people betraying us because we did something wrong. I feels like that's the same sentiment with this whole message. He also adds that going forward, Kurate will be aiming to explore different forms of expression that aren't offensive while still not compromising on the direction of their works. When it comes to development itself, the devs at Correct usually go all out during brainstorming meetings, often coming up with ideas crazy enough that they shouldn't be written down. I would love to be a fly in that room to hear all the crazy shit that they come up with for these games, and then they have to take it out because, you know. Then polishing them down. The difficult part comes when they have to optimize the game for intended platforms like Sony or Nintendo, often having to make some compromises. Notably with Bunny Gardens 2, there are some difficulties between Steam and Switch versions due to different platform requirements. I'm assuming that even though Steam does have its moments when it bans games, which they just recently did, they are more lenient to let certain things fly versus Nintendo nowadays, as you know, the Switch 2 has changed a lot of their policies, as we learned from Neptunia trying to get onto the platform. And the one thing that I just don't understand with Nintendo is, like, if the game already has a feature, like I said, if every game, I didn't say this, but I said this in the podcast that I had with a Daikun, and I was saying that all games should come with a censor feature. So, like, if people who are playing the game and don't want to see all the sexiness or stuff like that, they turn on the switch for the censor, it censors the game, and it's an option. It always should just be an option, just like how Dispatch did. Dispatch is a perfect example that they have a lot of explicit scenes in the game, and they have a censor for people who don't want to see that. It's an option, and on PlayStation it's still there, but on Nintendo they phased it out so you can never turn it off. But it was already censored. It was already handled. So I don't really get it, but you know, it's that kind of thing. But first and foremost, we have no intention to cause trouble for platform holders and rating agencies on purpose or making something that's just barely acceptable. I get that they have to comply with, like, Sony and Nintendo. There's no way around that. They have their own rules. I wish they wasn't like that, but it's kind of just how it is. However, I just hope that at least Steam can come around to the fact that, you know, just make a censor feature. That's all I'm going to say. While communicating with them in advance and making sure depictions of are acceptable, we are also exploring how intense we can go with the stuff we truly want to make. USADA's comments. But while mature games sometimes have quite a hard time getting approved by platforms, the devs are at Correct are aware that their bigger audiences are gamers who enjoy risque titles and suggestive content. Therefore, censoring the games or going all or nothing would be also difficult decision to make, both from the fans and the developer's perspective, USADA suggests. I know that there are many people who tells us what to play, not just Kurut's games, but games with sexual elements in general, if prioritized, not making people uncomfortable and end up toning down the game's expression, or simply not making the game, nobody would be happy. It's like the game was initially made for people who enjoy seductive content, sexual expert. What? The game was originally made for people who liked fan service and just loves, you know, seeing some sexy stuff in a game. However, there's people out there who don't like it, which is fine, but then they get into the game and be like, well, I would like you to change it for me to also enjoy the fans, so I can also be popular with the fandom, but, you know, not really care about what it is and not really truly play it. I just want to make us think about it. I feels like, again, ever since Twitter made it where you can get paid to rage bait and paid to be mad at everything is just like, so like, man, like, I need everything to be for me, but it's not, it doesn't need to be like that ever. Forms of expression for this day and age. Bunny Garden 2 is set to launch on April 16, 2026 for Nintendo Switch and PC, which I am excited to play this Bunny Gardens 2. I still haven't yet to play the first one, but I do plan on playing it before the second one comes out. I wanted to do it before that, but life sometimes. But that is the story, that is the article, and I'm actually interested in seeing how you guys feel about it. I am definitely in favor of more developers coming out and saying that we do not want to censor our games and we want to appeal to the people that actually is going to buy our games and not to the people that won't buy our games. And I feels like if you're censoring the games and you're angering the people that's going to buy the game originally, no one's buying the game. So it kind of defeats the whole point of playing the games. But I do like if this is the direction that they are going to go, where they're going to try to appeal to the people that's actually going to play their games, but also still somewhat try to comply with Nintendo and somewhat PlayStation. I don't think Correct Games actually even brings their games to PlayStation as far as I know. But regardless of the fact, if they are going to do it to Nintendo Switch 2, I wish that they would just do like a censor feature, and maybe that will help please Nintendo a little bit. But you know, it's always hard to deal with Nintendo, so it's hard to say. But I'm actually very curious on where you're going to play the game. I mean, if you're watching this video right now and you're part of my community, I could already understand where you're probably going to be picking, which is Steam. However, if you are going to be playing it on Nintendo Switch 2, let me know how you guys feel about it. Are you upset that it's going to get censored? We don't even know how to the extent of what it's going to get censored, but I know it's going to get censored. And I am going to buy the second game, probably going to buy the first one game and play them both on the second channel in a sequence. However, I guess I'll see what parts are censored and not censored on the Switch 2. And I'm kind of interested. So let me know what you guys think. But I thought that was a good, I thought this would be a fun little topic to talk about. As you know, we around here hate censorship and just want games to just come out as the way the developers want to see them being made. And it just sucks that we live in a world where that just can't happen nowadays. It just sucks. Either way, remember that fan service is the best kind of service, and be a fan of that like button. Remember, I'm trying to hit 20K by the end of the year, and with your help and support, I could definitely do that. And with that being said, I will see you in the next video next time. Bye me.